Hello and welcome to livealittlehigher.com. This week we learned Parasha Shemini, and the word Shemini really means in the 8th day, and this is the day in which the tabernacle, the Mishkan, was consecrated, inaugurated in the desert. So this number 8, it really has a very big meaning in the Torah. Really, the 8th day. There's no such thing as an 8th day. You always have 7 days of the week, but when it refers to the 8th day, it really is talking about something that is out of this world. For example, when the Torah talks about the Brit Milah, the circumcision of a baby boy, being on the 8th day, what it means is that it's a supra-rational mitzvah that people do on their children on the 8th day of a baby boy's birth. They do a circumcision. So this goes beyond and it transcends logic of any kind. So anything that in the Torah comes to talk about the 8th, it really is talking about transcendence. So in the case of this Torah portion, one of the central events of the portion is the death of Aaron HaKohen's 2 sons, Nadav and Avihu. And these 2 sons of Aaron, who were his eldest sons, what happened to them is that they came into the Holy of Holies, the Kodesh HaKodashim, and they offered a strange fire before God, and their souls left their bodies, and they were consummated, and they died before God. So this really is a very troubling situation to understand. There is much to this Torah account, and in the words of our sages, that implies that Nadav and Avihu act was not a sin per se. Like, what was wrong with them was that they really wanted to be close to Hashem. This is the whole reason of why their souls left their bodies, is because they really wanted to be connected to their source. So the Torah records the words that Moshe Rabbeinu said to Aaron immediately after the death of his sons, after this tragedy. And he said to Aaron, "This is what God spoke, saying, I shall be sanctified by those who are close to me." And Rashi, citing the Talmud and the Midrash, explains this meaning. So it says that Moses said to Aaron, "When God said, I shall be sanctified by those close to me, I thought it referred to me or you. Now I see that they're greater than both of us." So what Moshe was telling Aaron is that his sons were greater than Moshe and Aaron. And the Torah continues to say that Aaron kept silent. He didn't say anything. He didn't say anything about the death of his sons. He kept silent. So in the commentary of Rabbi Haim Ibn Attar of the Or HaHaim, in this verse where it says, there was a death by divine kiss, like the experience by the perfectly righteous people. It is only that the righteous die when the divine kiss approaches them, while they died by their approaching it. So what he's saying is that God didn't come for their lives, they went to God. Hashem didn't come to take their lives away, they themselves gave their lives to Hashem. And although they sensed their own demise, this did not prevent them from drawing near to Hashem in attachment, delight, delectability, fellowship, love, kissing, and sweetness, to the point that their soul ceased from them. So the sages, they tell us that there in the Kabbalah, there's this concept of ratzo v'shov, which is ratzo means to striving, to run away, to transcend, to connect to the light, and then the shov is the return, it's the settling, it's bringing that inspiration, that feeling of unity with Hashem, and bringing it back to this world and using it for holy purposes in this world, elevating the material world. So the whole world is created through these 2 energies of ratzo v'shov, of going and coming. Like if you look at the ocean, it has a high tide, a low tide, it has waves that go in and go out. You have the heart, the human heart, or any heart, it pumps in and pumps out. You have the lungs, they breathe in, they breathe out. It's an energy that really is moving the world per se, and it also is moving us within. So the Ratso is this striving to transcend, is the yearning to tear free from the limitations of this world and material life. It's really a want of the soul, of the godly soul, to be united with its source. And at the same time, however, every human being also possesses this shov, this return, to bring into actualization the commitment to live a physical existence and imprint and make an imprint in this material world. So the verse calls the soul of man, there's a verse in Proverbs that calls the soul of man a lamp of God. And the lamp, the flame of a candle, if you look at fire, it's always striving to go up. No matter in which direction you put the candle, the flame is always gonna go up. The gravity doesn't affect it, it's always striving to go up. And so this is the nature of fire. And the soul, the godly neshama, which is an emanation of Hashem, also its nature is to always strive up, always wants to go higher, always wants to connect to its source. So the way in which the flame is kept in the wick is the one that brings out the flame, it's ignited, the wick. It is through the oil or the wax that is the fuel that ignites the flame, but the wick, the one in the middle, is the one that is able to maintain the flame connected to the wick. So also our soul, when it's trying to leave the body, it wants to go up, it wants to get rid of the body. The mitzvahs and the Torah that we learn are the oil, which are the ones that make the soul be connected to the body. So I was reading in the news this week something that really is appalling. Like for me, I cannot really come to grips with it. And it came up in one of these news feeds of this very young girl, Soraya, in the Netherlands. She's 28 years old. And in the Netherlands, it happens to be that if a person is too depressed, has a lot of pain in their psyche, the psychiatrists are allowed to perform euthanasia on a person that is suffering a lot. It can be a disease of the body, or it can be a disease of the brain. So it really hit a chord, and I really said, like really the Torah is alive, because that this news comes precisely this week when we're talking about the sons of Aaron that wanted to get rid of their bodies, they wanted to connect to their source. This is the nature of the soul. The soul wants to go back to its home, but a person also wants to live. Like you see people, they're so resilient. They go through so much in life. And nevertheless, you see them that they go on. And you see our grandparents coming out of a Holocaust, of Auschwitz, of concentration camps. You see people in Israel now that went through being hostages in Gaza, or they lost their whole families, and nobody wants to die. People want to live. This is a normal a pool of a human being. But really, it struck a chord on me, this girl, 28-year-old girl, that she's fed up with life. She can't take it anymore. And this is what happened to Aaron's sons. Like, they love God. I'm not saying this is in the context of this girl's life, because I really don't know the whole story, and maybe she doesn't even believe in God. But what I mean is the nature of the neshama, the nature of a soul, is to want to be connected to its source. But in reality, Hashem doesn't want us to die. Hashem wants us to live. Hashem doesn't want people to just like give up on life and just connect to Him and that's it, go back home and that's it, end of the story. This is not what life is about, and life is also a hard life. Not everybody has it easy. Nobody has it easy. Either it's one thing or another. We all have situations in our lives where we have to deal with things, and at the end of the day, this is where it is. So we see that man too is always striving to escape physical life and is checked by the will to be and achieve, which is in turn checked by striving for spirituality and transcendence. So the problem of people is that they're not rooted. They're rooted in the source, but they don't understand why they're rooted in the source. And the root of the source is to come to this world and have an effect on the world. This is the whole purpose of existence, is for a person to come into this world and transform the world around him into godliness. And so when a person's involvements in the world threaten to overwhelm him and make him a prisoner of this world, the soul's ratso, the resist of being into this body, the soul wants to leave. The soul wants to ratso and connect to Hashem. And when a person's spirituality threatens to carry him to the sublime yonder, the soul shov kicks in. So there's when this is a mechanism of the soul that says, okay, no, you got here, but now you have to come back. Now, come back. We need you here. And that's the desire to live. It's interesting, the Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, when he used to give a mimer, a shiur, he used to go to such lofty places when he was delivering Torah that he used to wrap around himself a handkerchief in one hand, and he would grab from it from the other, because his neshama would want to expire. That was the need. He would get so high, so inspired by the words of Torah that his neshama wanted to leave the body. So he always grabbed himself into a handkerchief to remember that he was anchored in this world and that this is where Hashem needed him the most. So we see that this world in which we are, it really is the place where Hashem wants us. Hashem wants us to make a dwelling place for Him in this world, through the material world, through our life. Every person has a different movie of a life, and each person has a certain portion of his life that he has to affect. So we see that this divine fire that consumes the souls of Nadav and Avihu is a very fire that is intrinsic to every soul, and the soul's burning desire to tear free of the physical trappings that distance it from its source. Nadav and Avihu came close to God by indulging and fueling their souls ratso to the point that they could never come back. And it's interesting that many people today, many young people, they go into experimenting with all these psychedelic mushrooms. I don't know if I'm saying the right word, psychedelic, like they takes them into these exalted spiritual states because they want to feel these feelings of being connected to the source. They want to feel this ratso, this elevation. And so they go into these different practices to be always feeling this way, but in reality, this is not Torah. This is not what Hashem wants from us. We know other religions, they are looking for nirvana, transcendence, spirituality. But the Torah, the Jewish way of life, has nothing to do with that. It is getting married, having children, changing diapers, cooking for your family, washing clothes, making your home clean, cooking, and making money. This is the Jewish way of life. But the ratzo, the transcendence is for what? What is all this material world about? And that's where the shov comes in, and it kicks in. Okay, you go, you transcend, you pray, you get elevated, you get connected to your source, and then you come back with this inspiration, this feeling of exaltedness to bring that power and that infuse the world with that passion. This is the whole purpose of it. But Hashem doesn't want us in a cave, eating carrots and drinking water from a spring, like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who was for 14 years in this state to bring down the Zohar. This is not the purpose of a human being. The purpose of life is to have those moments of inspiration, to really connect to that light. There's times for that. Shabbat, Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, Havdalah. You have the Shabbat candle. candles. There's moments that are spiritually geared to bring us to that feeling, but the 99% of our life is rooted in the physicality. And the physicality, the whole purpose of this physical world is to bring that passion, to bring that love of God, and elevate the mundane to the spiritual. So that's the whole purpose of this. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe adds, the purpose of this divine command was not to limit the degree of self-transcendence and closeness to God attainable by man. It's not telling you you should not strive to be connected to God. You should be connected to God, but through your life, just bring that feeling, bring that love of God into your life. And the Baal Shem Tov says, it is only out of great kindness on the part of God that one remains alive after prayer. So prayer is a means to be connected to God in a very lofty way. If you're able to pray in a very, very, very good way, with the right intention, the right concentration, understanding what you're saying, giving yourself to Hashem, this is a way in which you can really come to achieve this feeling. But the Baal Shem Tov reminds us is God's kindness that doesn't allow the soul to just leave the body, and it really brings us back to this world. So it's this pull and shove, pull and bring, and pull and bring, this dynamic of creation that is what keeps us passionate, loving, giving, happy. This is it. So I want to wish you a blessed week, and remember, live a little higher. Thank you.